project. Just a quick forenote here. If you're here before us, you are in one of the three districts, the North Wayne, South Wayne, or Luella Court Historic District, and you're doing some work which triggers a harbor view, which includes expansion of footprint or height or area modifications. Sometimes that includes windows. Most times it's roof lines or footprint or volume. So with that, we have one project tonight. It's HARB 2013-3. It's 230 East Beech Tree Lane in Wayne. The project is to convert pedestrian door to window and convert overhead door to pedestrian door with side lights and bracketed roof covering. Is someone here to present? Just go to the microphone and introduce yourself. And are you familiar? Have you done this before?
Once or twice.
Okay. So you know to put everything out on the, okay. Thank you. So just introduce yourself and walk us through.
I'm sorry.
Just introduce yourself and walk us through the project.
My name is Sam Gerbino. I'm an architect with JTA Associates. What we're looking at doing is, if you look at the plans on the side elevation, there's currently a door into the family room and a... Sorry.
Do you want a handheld?
I'm sorry?
Do you want a handheld?
No, that's okay. There's a door that goes into the existing family room that we are converting into a window. The existing garage door, we are converting the garage into a mudroom. So we are taking the garage door out and putting in a door with side lights and then creating a covered, a bracketed covering there for the doorway.
Could you show everyone this photo here just so that we can compare it?
Yeah.
And just maybe side by side would be helpful.
Okay, thanks. That's
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
So the existing construction it's a stucco on frame,
Correct.
and you're going to patch in everything with the
Yes.
with the similar.
Yes.
Okay. So this application is just for this piece. It looks like the plans have an addition that's a future. Is it a phased addition or?
The addition off the back?
Yeah.
No, that is current as well. It was our understanding that that's not under HARB's,
Who told you that?
my boss.
Well, that's going to be under HARB, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. An
I thought
addition?
it was only things that are seen from the road.
No.
That's often because if you can't see anything from the front, it's usually excluded.
Okay.
But in our case, our ordinance has us looking at conditions that you can't see from the street.
Okay.
So that was a normal mistake that he made.
Okay.
Okay, so what we can do, this is a procedural thing. What we can do tonight is talk about what you have on the application. Since these are public meetings, we can't approve things that aren't on the application.
Okay.
Even though whatever you have here might be, something that's compatible or whatever.
Can you
We-
explain
We
to
can
me
talk
again?
about this piece and approve or disapprove it or have conditions on it, and then we can vote on that. And then the addition, we can talk about afterwards in terms of whether we think it's compatible or not, but it wouldn't be a votable thing.
We've had plenty of applications where people may have done 3 or 4 things and only 2 show up. Or somebody says, I'm kind of putting a little addition to the back, and you're putting a porch up, you're putting this up. So there's a lot of precedents from our own past in looking at something like this.
Well,
Now, I agree it didn't show up on the application per se, but we've done that before in a number of cases.
I thought in my mind, the distinction, and I know what you're saying, is not so much the application said one thing, but they came in with other projects. It was, oh, we all had a discussion here. They said, oh, maybe we could do it such and such way. And they changed their plans based on the discussion we had. Maybe I'm saying something different, but I think the scope of work pretty much began as it was going to be done, not so much, your scope of work is great, but I mean, it's a two-piece scope. My sense was the scope of work came in, and we might be suggested, well, if you do it this way, which would require something different, and they said, okay, we'll revise the plans, and that was one of those situations that went, should we have someone come back or not? But this is a pretty big piece that maybe the public would want to have come and talked about. I guess I feel awkward that it wasn't on public record that an addition was going to be made to.
Yeah, but especially some of the larger projects where there's like, say, a large house and there's an awful lot of exterior work that they're going to be doing, and they're not necessarily that explicit on some of the things. Like we're renovating the porch,
Right.
we're putting an addition to the back, and then you really look into it, and my God, they're surrounding the entire house with a new addition, which is a lot different than what the scope says. That's all I'm saying, and by airing it out in public, because many times we've received the plans ahead of time, and we really had to ask the applicant to discuss what they're actually doing, because
It's hard.
what it says on the application is
It's
different
hard.
than what we're actually seeing on the drawings.
Yeah, I know what
That's
you mean.
my
It's-
feeling.
There's a gray area. I know.
And rather than having someone come back again, and we're still bringing this up in a public forum.
Need-
I understand what you're saying. I just think this one's pretty clear that there wasn't on it, though. So what do you
True.
think from a legal
Well,
standpoint?
I'm a little concerned about the notice, because it is an addition. I think to your point that it can't be seen from the street is a very relevant factor in our analysis of
Right.
whether something, passes muster. And in fact, it's a specific factor that's in the state ordinance, not the local ordinance, but the Pennsylvania law.
Exactly.
But it's something we do take into account. Now, I guess, I can't tell which is where the addition is here, but
It's to the rear. I think it's to the right. Look at
Completely in the rear. Yeah.
upper right.
That's it from the side view.
Upper
is
right.
it there,
that's the site?
and
Yeah.
then this is the back view here.
So if you look at-
Okay.
in the plan, it's just this.
Okay, and then there's a roof going out. I see it, yeah. Okay.
It's just that's the porch. Everything's behind.
I mean, I
And here you can see.
One way of handling this, you could handle this as if it were everything on the application. You can give approval for this, for what's actually on the application. And then the back portion, which is not included in the application, we could discuss, come to an agreement of mind, and at old business at the next meeting, bring it up again for any additional public comment. But with the proviso that, okay, we agree that this should pass muster. It's almost like, I guess what I'm getting at, you could almost do like a conditional COA where what's on the application specifically we can approve or disapprove, and what isn't we can approve or disapprove given any public comment that might come over the next month. Because that's really the issue,
What is that? What
is
is
the
that?
public comment that somebody might bring something up,
Right.
and we give them a whole month, and next meeting's old business, we could grant full approval, or something to that
But how
extent.
does-
What does that do in the permit process?
Right.
I'm not sure what the time frame is for their permitting process. Obviously, what isn't approved today will be another 30 to 45 days out, depending upon when the next phase is. Now, we've done it both ways. We've done it conditionally. We've also, this board has allowed, as things are brought to light, the changes or applications. The other issue is if, and I'm not on the legal end of this, but this still has to be approved by the commissioners Monday evening at their meeting. Should there be any objection, whoever, I guess at that point, possibly could raise a point of
Contentions.
contention about that issue. We have in the past allowed, as John said, there's been some things that haven't been clear, and there's been some things that have, that we've picked up on. So we've done them both ways. Obviously it wasn't hidden. It's not like they didn't intend to do it. They just,
Well,
And people are allowed to look at this prior to the meeting.
yeah, but they look at the
But can't they look at, the drawings? They could look
Yes.
at the full package that we had
yes, the full
prior to.
package is put, and it's here available with a right to know, as is anything that's, once it's submitted, anybody has the right to
Right.
come and view it.
So we're not trying to muddle
Yeah.
you up, but there's a procedural thing that we have to make sure is
Right, I
clear.
guess if I could get some, I don't understand why it's always been our understanding that you only deal with the front
That-
and what is
No.
seen from the road.
You're absolutely
So-
correct on that, but as I said earlier,
It's not.
read our ordinance, and our ordinance makes us look at the rear also, and any aspect that you can't see from the front. Many HARB ordinances really just view things from the front, or what you can't, or anything that you can see from the front.
Correct.
Many, to add what you're saying, many ordinances, and I think George was saying the state model ordinance suggests, you say, to be reviewing things only seen from the public right-of-way, which is probably what you're coming from. Our ordinance, for some reason, whoever we created this whole thing, building people, code people said, no, we think it should be, don't say that. So we didn't say that. So up till now, I think what George would have said was, or someone else said, maybe John, we review everything in view from the exterior, but perhaps hold thought about or analysis about things in the rear that aren't seen regularly, or even the rear side elevations are a little less prominently effective, good or bad. So I think we kind of think of that, there's a logic to why that is usually said, but it's not in our ordinance. So we reviewed many, many things in the rear or side elevations. So maybe someone was just thinking HARB in general.
Right, okay. Well, I just don't want to, for our misunderstanding, my clients, we already have our grading permit in that is waiting upon this approval, and I don't really think we want to wait another 30, 40
No,
days.
and that's not our
No,
intention.
that's
We're
not-
trying to just
So-
figure out how to
Okay.
work through it.
I
Okay.
like what you
Well,
said.
I guess, here's the question. The only issue, I guess, would be if someone complains because there wasn't adequate notice. And I think the rebuttal to that is the application was filed, the materials were on record. It's subject to a Board of Commissioners vote on a second go-around. And, as a general matter, we do have a lot of discretion how we procedurally focus on these things. So, I don't know. I would think that, we're here to try to help people, and I guess I'm not terribly concerned that the front page of this application doesn't specifically say there's this addition. Now, but we need to get some information about the addition.
Okay.
If you're prepared to talk about
Yes,
that.
sure.
And we've often in the past being like recently, within the past 6 months, have received relatively scant information that was provided to us at the meeting itself. So if you want, we had every right in the world to say, we deny the application because of insufficient information. You know, I can name probably 2 or 3 within the past 6 months that it's occurred.
No,
I don't think we're talking about additions,
it's a
though.
different issue.
It's like parts of the project, so.
I'm-
I would like to do this where we do vote on the piece that's on the application, talk about the piece that's not, approve or disapprove it conditionally that it's not part of the application, and then let it go to the commissioners, and then they can, I think that saves it gets everybody a second look, right?
You could vote on the whole thing.
Yeah.
And like George is saying, it goes to the COA. This is televised. Anybody with a gripe can show up at the commissioners' meeting
Right.
and make comments.
But Cam is saying we cannot approve, like 100%, the piece that's not been set forth. We can conditionally approve it and leave it to we can approve, obviously, the piece that we see here, and that's fine. The piece that we knew that was going to be coming today. The piece we didn't know, we can look at, give our comments, conditionally approve it, and I think Cam is saying, and let the commissioners go and vote if they want to or not.
Well, it was submitted as part of the application, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, right, and we noticed that when it was part of the plans. It just wasn't on the sheet that told us what,
It wasn't on the first page where it says
Right.
description
Right.
of
Right.
the work.
so,
But
So
what they're
it's-
presenting to us is
Right.
exactly what they're going to do.
exactly.
All right, well,
You know.
let's let him go.
So, I mean, we have all the
Can I
information,
rewrite the
what they're going to
front
do.
page and add, or just add
It's
it
more
on?
the public, it's the public.
It's a pu-
you know.
it's-
This is a
Yeah.
It's not
procedural
us,
thing
it's
that
the
I know, I
doesn't involve
understand.
what
I'm
you,
just trying to get it together.
Let's talk about it.
Go
Yeah,
through the
let's
rest
hear
of it.
Let's hear it.
I'm sorry, we got hung up on that, but it's part of the deal here.
Well, like I said, this is the existing back elevation. We are adding on a kitchen and a bedroom above and a closed-in porch. We're doing it out of clapboard siding. Colors yet to be determined, but it will be in something keeping with the existing colors of the house. Windows will match what's existing on the house, and the roof will match existing of what's on the house. So we're looking for it to blend, but at the same time, we don't want to try to fully match the stucco because you never can fully match. It's always done by a different hand, and we think that looks like too much of a near miss.
Is there any reason you wouldn't put a hip roof on that addition as opposed to a gable?
Only because we also have a gable on this elevation on this side. So we were worried that it's already kind of a very shallow pitched roof, and we were worried about hipping it, how it would look.
Okay.
Do you have a general square footage?
That I don't off the top of my head. It's probably about,
44,
It's like one pile
100,
across the whole.
60,
Oh, it's, okay.
100.
I see them. It's that component on top.
yes. Yes, this is the first floor plan here. This is the second floor plan here. So on the second floor, we're not going over the porch.
It's keeping the footprint it's keeping the wall, it's not extending beyond the footprint of the house.
On the side? Correct, correct.
And I think as we stated earlier, this is something that virtually won't be able to be seen from the street.
Correct.
Okay.
You can probably see where the garage doors are from the street,
On the side.
I would think.
The garage.
But the addition part.
The
The
new-
new garage
yes.
doors.
Yeah, when you turn
Yeah.
the corner, and, you know, you see that now.
Right.
Very, very clearly. So in a way, it may look more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
No, I think you're
There's
right.
a lot there's pretty good space between the houses there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But I
Yes,
think,
their neighbor on that side is quite far.
Yeah. You probably have to look for it, though.
this will be a nicer,
Yes.
You know, the other thing is that this house is not a contributing structure to the historic district. And while it's a nice house, you know, I think that, from my point of view, the review of what you're doing, as long as it's not seen from the street or from the right-of-way, I think that you have more leeway in terms of what you can do, rather than, you know, if it were a contributing
Right.
building.
Correct.
So, I mean, I think it's fine, as, you know, from what you've been showing us.
Okay. Any other comments from you?
No.
Anything else from you guys?
I think,
Would you
Well,
like to
I-
make a
I'm
motion?
Sorry, I do have
Yeah.
one comment. If we're doing this like this, do we have to come back for that meeting, or?
Well, we haven't straightened this out.
Okay.
Yeah. What we're trying to do is not have you do that.
yeah, exactly.
And if we can do it, it may be as simple as the commissioners will make a mention that, you know, there was this kind of irregularity, but the project was presented, it was on file in its entirety. It
Okay.
wasn't called out on the front sheet. But we have, assuming we approve it, we've approved this project, and they will agree or disagree or whatever. But,
Okay.
so that would be as late as Monday.
Okay.
Coming up.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
what we're shooting for, is to get that all so that it's
Okay.
all in line for that to happen.
So then, as far as, and if that gets okay, if you approve it tonight and that gets okayed Monday,
Then you're good to
the
go.
grading permit that we have in the works, that can start?
Yeah, all that
Okay.
process gets kickstarted
Okay.
at that point. I mean, there could be a problem that they say, well, procedurally, this is a problem.
Right.
I mean, they could do anything at
Yeah.
that.
You know, one of the early technical corrections that we voted on and has been incorporated gave us much wider leeway as to the information that's presented to us. So you can construe that both ways. You can construe that from of the text on the application versus the physical documents that are presented. You can go either way. And if you look at the entire package, you see all this other stuff that's going on. So it's not like they're hiding it. It's not like they're springing this on us at the meeting itself.
Right,
And everyone has a chance to look at it, as
right.
we talked about earlier,
Yeah,
at the
the
township
ordinance
building.
is local ordinance is very general language regarding what we can require to look at
Yeah.
in analyzing these projects.
And we specifically put that in.
Right. I think for a different purpose. I think for a different reason, but I agree with you. It's to our discretion, do we have enough information to vote?
Yeah.
Because I roughly look at what's on the application, but I really look at what's in the drawings. Because that's an extremely general thing. We're doing some work to the house. That's what's on the application. Then you see them putting up, you know.
Well, that's what we're trying not to have
Yeah.
happen.
Oh, exactly,
You know, so-
exactly.
I
know,
think we want to
exactly.
avoid,
It's one thing when they come in with, you know, drawings that we've never seen or aren't in the packet, and then there's this.
Well, and
Which is-
they're the ones that we really rightfully should say
No,
deny.
right.
But we've tried to move the process forward and looked at them in public. So if we do it that way, I don't see why we can't do it
Okay.
with this.
Well, is everybody in agreement that we can vote on everything then?
I think tonight we should go
Yeah.
for it. And
Yeah, I think we
have
should.
to definitely fix this.
All right, we're going to ask to have a 5-minute recess.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion to recommend a COA?
Well, no,
I
we want
think
to
we have
recess
to
first, right?
recess first, right?
What?
Yeah, we need a 5-minute recess first.
Okay.
So we'll just do that, so the mic's off. Okay. You want us to come with you?
I think I remember.
Hold on 1 second, let us get everything back up.
Make up.
Put that bottle away, will you, please? Cool?
Okay, we're back.
All righty. Motion to recommend a COA to include the additional work that was not included in the summary description in the application.
I'd like to modify that. I would ask for the motion would be for a certificate of appropriateness for the project as submitted with a correction to the summary description on page 1.
Yeah?
Okay?
Okay,
Second?
all in favor?
Yeah?
Aye.
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 And the decision of what else was talked over, the addition.
No, I think
That shows up on the tape.
The plan the application as submitted in whole, we are voting on. And with the one qualifier to add a correction to the summary description on page 1.
To include that
Yes.
addition, which it wasn't. Okay. All right, so I think we voted on that. Everybody understands that? We have 5-0.
Mhm.
The motion is approved, and you're approved through us. So Monday, commissioners are going to vote on this based on that, and that'll be your decision at that point. So I don't think you need to do anything. It's because they're looking at this information, and they're going to vote on our comments and,
For records?
no,
I
because
think
that would be
we're
an
okay.
additional piece of application. So, I mean, I think that's it. You just have to see what they're, and, then, once they give you the high sign or the whatever sign, then things will move based on that. So, and thank you for
Yeah.
putting up with all of that.
Well, it's,
That's just kind of what happens.
we're doing the best we
Thank
can.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, good luck with everything. All right, so, that being said, we have any new business? Do we have any old things? Is there any public comment? We didn't even ask for that,
Well, there's no public.
so, okay.
I guess we just,
Then I think I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Anybody second that?
I second.
I'll
Okay,
second
we're
it.
adjourned.